Magic. All right, so if you're watching this video, then that means that you have completed a drawing, actually two drawings. This is the profile drawing, and then there should be also one overhead that shows me what your basket is going to look like. So you're going to need some materials. I have pre-cut some wire, but most likely you're going to have to cut wire. And if that's the case, I have a video for that as well. The main thing that's really important, you need 4 pieces, which I have here. Check the ends of your wire. So you just want to feel the end of the wire, and it might be sharp. If it's sharp, I have some of these files. So this has tiny teeth on it. And all I do is I'm holding it now against the end here, and I'm just filing the end of this wire. If you don't do that, it actually can cut you, so just be careful with that. When you have your 4 pieces of wire, I would recommend, and you don't have to do this, you can do it as you go, that you spend some time twisting up the colorful wire. Now, my drawing, if you look back at it, has multiple colors, and they are not green. So make sure you twist up the colors that you plan to use from your drawing. At the end of this project, I'm going to look at your original drawing and the basket that you've made, and they should be close to each other. So just keep that in mind. So this is a pre-twisted piece of wire that I'm going to use kind of once I get going here with what we're doing. Your 4 pieces of wire, you're going to want to bend in half. So I'm going to show you how to bend one of them in half. Here's how I recommend that you do it. Oh, is my camera going to freeze? I want to go to that camera. All right, sorry about that. So I recommend that you balance the wire on your finger. The technical glitches. When it's balanced, that means that my finger is now touching the center of that piece of wire. If I bend the wire there, the 2 ends should match up. This is important. If you have not bent your wire so that the ends are even, that's going to work against you when we get on to the next steps. Once you have bent all of your pieces of wire, so I have 4 pieces of wire that are bent, all the ends are relatively even, you then need one of these blocks. Now, some students will be concerned that this block is going to kind of force the shape of your piece. It does not have to, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. So you've got your 4 pieces. You're going to insert each of them into the holes. There should be 8 holes, so you should have kind of the base for your basket from that. When you have inserted all 4, I'll just take a moment to do that now. Make sure that you push them all the way down so that they're touching the bottom of the block of wood. You should have something that looks like this. Now, this is not the shape of a basket, so you need to bend these. Now, this wire is rigid. That means it's thicker. It's kind of heavy-duty stuff. It's a little bit harder to bend. I will have around the room needle nose pliers, which will help you to bend the wire. The truth is you can do a lot of bending just with your fingers. It might be a little bit difficult to do, but you can really shape this wire just with your fingers. Pliers are useful, and you can use them because some of your fingers may not be as strong. You know, I've got fingers that have been around for a while. But you're going to want to make the shape of your basket. If we go back to my original, let me rephrase that. You don't want to make the shape of your basket while it's still in this form. What you want to do is you want to bend the ends of these loops of wire so that you have a good base. You're going to create the shape for your basket after you take these wires out, after you get this started. If you're not sure, the purpose of this base is to hold all these wires in place while you begin to wrap. So that's the whole purpose of this. Now, that said, it is important that you spend time, especially if you want your basket or bowl or whatever it is that you're creating to sit flat on a table. You want to take time while it's in this form here to make sure that it does that. So I'm going to adjust my camera just a little bit so you can see my tabletop. And you just want to take, so you can see it's not standing the way that I want. So I need to spend some time bending these wires into a form that's going to allow it to kind of sit on the table. For many of you, that's going to mean that you can see I've kind of bowed them in, and I'm going to bend them out just a little bit. I just want to kind of even it out. It's still not quite even, but I'm going to see what does it look like if I try to set it on the table. If it's standing like where it's rocking, then spend some more time making sure that it's really nicely balanced. If you don't do this, this step is really important. So if you don't spend time making sure that your base, because that's what this is balanced, then your basket's not going to work. Or it'll work, it's just not going to stand kind of nicely on a table, which is what many of you will want it to do. So I'm spend a little more time. Let's see, how does it stand now? It's a little bit better. There's still some rocking, but that I would spend more time. I would strongly encourage, if you brought me this and asked me if it was good enough to begin weaving, I would say no. Spend some more time really trying to get it balanced so that there's no wobble at all. So once you have it, you spent that time and you've really made it so that there's no wobble, now you're going to begin to connect these pieces. So the way that you're going to do that is using wire. Some of you will be inclined to use a single piece of wire. I would discourage that. Twisted wire is going to just be a little bit stronger, and it's going to make for neater work when you do that. Here's what I would suggest. You're going to begin. Let me switch. I'm going to switch now to my document camera so that you can see it more clearly. Maybe I'm going to switch to my document camera. It's working sort of. So just so you can watch this process happen, you can see I've got these pieces of wire. And what I need to do is, and just to show you kind of where I'm going to wrap the wire so that they're all connected. Because once I've connected those four parts that will make the base of my structure, then I can take the whole thing out and I can begin to shape it so that I can make it look the way that I want it to. So, go back to that base, and I'm going to begin by wrapping the wire kind of away from the center. You could start in the center if you want, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up wrapping over this wire. So I'm just wrapping this wire. So eventually, like I say, I'm going to come with more wire that's going to go over this initial wrap that I have. And then from that, I'm going to begin to wrap around these pieces. You can see pretty quickly when you're doing this why the base is important. If I was trying to hold all four of these pieces of wire and wrap the wire, it would not work very well. So I'm going to continue to wrap around this piece until I get to the next connected piece, or the next piece that I want to connect to. It's very important as you're doing this that you really spend time kind of making a nice clean wrap. This is going to be what your finished work will look like. So take your time. Don't be in too much of a hurry as you're doing this. Let's see if I can adjust that just a little bit so you can see it better. And this is going to take some time, and you will have to spend time kind of readjusting things and making them look the way that you're going to want it to look when you're finished with this. So as I'm wrapping, I want to get kind of all the way over here to this corner before I jump to that next piece. So I'm just spending time wrapping. If you do this well, you can make it so that you can't see, and maybe you want to see the silver wire, the structure of our basket. But if you really kind of take your time, you can make that just completely disappear into the background. So once I've gotten out there to the corner, now I can jump over to this other piece of wire so that I can begin to connect them. This is going to take a little bit of time, and this is also going to require some patience. So I'm going to, now that I've gotten those two pieces connected, you can see that I'm beginning to connect them. I just adjusted this one because it was overlapping a little bit. That's only because I haven't wrapped it the way that I've wrapped the other one. So you might notice that the piece of wire that I'm working with is not, it's not very long. It's only about probably 18 inches long. If you think, oh, I'm going to wrap up a really long piece of wire, I think you might be frustrated. Because all of this wire that is kind of the tail of the wire, I have to pull through before I wrap into the next section. So really spend time, like I said, making sure that your wraps are nice and tight. But that's kind of the gist of it. You want to wrap all of these until they're all connected, and then you're going to begin to weave. So once you have started to kind of put the basket together, I'm going to make another video that'll show you how to begin weaving the things. But that's the gist on how to get started. So you should have enough to get going with your project. Thanks for watching.